Why you should value competency and consistency above intelligence. Hello, ladies and I can't even speak. Gentlemen, welcome to the winning team. If it's the winning team, people here, shout out to y'all. And if you want to be a winner in life, we don't just do the winning mindset, we're doing the winning lifestyle. And that's what today's video is about: competency and consistency versus intelligence, and why you should value your competency and consistency above your level of intelligence. So, obviously, those of you been here know, those of you haven't, I am a scientist by trade. I studied pure chemistry, which was amazing. Like, literally, my degree was so interesting and just, it was so much fun. And it was amazing, right? And one thing that I learned about being a scientist and doing scientific research, bearing in mind, everyone, that scientific research is the basis of so many of the things we say in society today. So people are like, the statistics of people who blah, 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 blah equals, that's always some kind of scientific research. Somebody got a bunch of people together, evaluated a bunch of things, yada, yada, yada. But what I've noticed is that in society as a whole, intelligence is always far more valued above, say, competency and consistency, right? And so when we say competency and consistency, what are we saying? We're saying competency, having the necessary ability, knowledge, or skills to do something successfully. And what are we saying about intelligence? We're saying the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. So the difference between the two, right? The difference is having the necessary ability, knowledge, or skill to do something successfully. And that's where people go wrong, I have to say. And I'm saying this as a maths and science teacher, okay, you guys, because I've taught both kids and adults of all ages, of all levels. And at this point, something that I've realized is there's a lot of intelligent people in the world. Like, they know a lot of things and they have ability to do it, but their competency is lacking. And therefore, their consistency is also lacking. So let me give you guys an example of the job role I personally feel is the most competent, consistent of all the job roles in the world. And that is pilots. Pilots have so many responsibilities that they have to do competently and consistently every single time they get to an airplane. They don't have the grace or understanding that others do. Even surgeons can get away with that they accidentally killed somebody, because the statistics say that 30% of people will die from this surgery. So actually, they are not held to as high of a level as pilots are, because there's already a statistical value that they're going to die, which obviously is based off of the statistics of how many people have died. But those statistics don't necessarily explain to anybody else that the reason why those people could have died could have been because of the surgeon and the lack of competency or consistency, right? But when it comes to pilots, the type of investigations that happen when there's like a plane crash, even when the plane doesn't crash, but say they have to do like a go around, which a go around basically on an airplane. I know a lot about airplanes. They're like my literal favorite machine of all time. Like, I love airplanes. I love the jet engine. I just think it's powerful. It's beautiful. And I love to be in an airplane and hear the sound of the jet engine. It's just, it's one of my favorite songs. Yeah, it is one of my favorite songs in the world, to be honest. But anyway, the airplanes, if they do a go around, basically what a go around is like if an airplane is about to land and it's coming close to landing, and by this point as a passenger you can probably see that, like, oh, we're landing, whatever, but then for some reason something can happen, like maybe the landing gear is struggling, whatever, they decide it's safer for them to keep flying than to land immediately. So then they'll immediately go, like, they'll push the thrust levers and you'll immediately start like ascending again, which as a passenger could obviously be quite scary. But whatever decisions pilots make, they're free to make whatever decision they feel was right, but they're also going to be held accountable for whatever decision they make at the same time. And I think it's a lot of pressure. That's why I have so much respect for pilots, because not only are they making decisions like that, like when we get on the plane, they have to calculate, okay, what's the weight of the plane? So what's going to be our like takeoff speed? What's going to be our V1? Because V1 is like V1 stands for velocity, not important at this moment, but the V1 speed, that's like the speed that they reach where they can no longer stop the takeoff, because it's so dangerous for them to stop. The plane could crash because it's going so fast that trying to now stop it, they could crash on the calculated again runway that they're on. So they have to stop. If they get to V1, because after V1, the next thing they do is rotate, which is where they lift the nose of the plane and then we all take off, right? So these guys are doing such incredible high level of mathematics, right? Not only are they doing that, they have to walk around the entirety of the plane before we start, and they've got to do their checklist of like all the different parts of the plane, make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. They have to know the plane like the back of their hand. And this is what I'm saying about competency. Like, you don't have that level of competency in most areas in society today. In most areas of society today, people will give you excuses for whatever reason, right? And that's why I say that I value competency and consistency above like intelligence, because the fact that they can do that and they can do that consistently, the fact that they show up and they don't have an excuse to be like, I don't know, taking drugs or whatever, or be like hungover or whatever, or be tired. They can't be tired for the flight. They can't even, I don't even think they're even allowed to eat the same meals, because if one pilot goes out, the other pilot has to do this. They're not allowed to speak about anything other than what's happening inside the plane until they reach 10,000, up to past 10,000 feet, because 10,000 feet is where we as humans can still breathe the oxygen in the airplane. Like, I've studied a lot about this, you guys, if you can tell. And I love airplanes. I love them so much, right? Anyways, so there's so many little things that pilots do that technically they could not follow the rules if they didn't want to. Like, they could technically not be as competent. They could maybe 70% of the time calculate the takeoff speed properly. They could maybe 70% of the time, do a go around if they need to. Maybe 70% of the time, whatever. Not only that, pilots are so well qualified and competent that these guys can literally, they can have all of the engines flame out. So you might be depending on how far you're going, you might have a plane that's got 2 engines or 2 propellers, or maybe 4 in total, right? They can still operate the plane with all of the engines going out, all of the hydraulics, half of the freaking system. They can still land the plane completely calmly. And even though they're the ones we're experiencing the G-force, and we're just there crying and screaming, and they're the ones there making like quick, fast decisions like about what needs to happen within seconds, that is literally saving the lives of like hundreds of people on that freaking plane. And you know what? Just thinking about that alone, and then contrasting that with my experience in teaching, and like how I see that people are so like, oh, I know how to do this, so I'm just going to rush through it, and then they do it wrong, right? And this is adults and children. They'll be so intelligent and so capable. So I'm saying about the difference in intelligence. Like, you're capable, you have the knowledge and ability to do it, right? It doesn't mean you're doing it. And like, that's one of the things I never liked. Like, even as a student, when I was like learning at university, one of the things I didn't like about a lot of people is there's a lot of really knowledgeable people. And I'd always be thinking, and what does your knowledge lead to though? Because what have you produced with that knowledge? Are you just living life off of the like clout? Do anything for clout? I don't care. That song goes hard. I don't care what anybody says. Do anything for clout. Sorry, it's just too relatable, the song. But anyways, so many people just love the attention of like, oh my gosh, I'm intelligent, I'm seen as intelligent. But what are you doing to produce something out of your intelligence? Because sometimes what will end up happening in life, right? And this is how we see situations. I'll give you guys an example of what I'm talking about. So envision you see yourself as so intelligent. I went to university and I studied mechanical engineering, and I went on to work with a mechanical engineering company and such, and I got a PhD in this, but I couldn't find a job, so now I'm working in blank, blank, blank. I'm going to say blank, 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 because I don't devalue any job. I think anything that you do that's making you money is considered a job. None of them are better or worse than the others. That's my take. I don't know why we, in society, put certain things at higher status than others. If you're able to provide for yourself and the people that you care about, then why is anybody worried about what exactly that you're doing? Like, I just think that's weird. But anyways, let's go with that, right? So society will acknowledge somebody like that purely based on their education. They've done a degree, they've done a master's, they've done a PhD. People will disregard, right, the person who perhaps got famous on social media, which I'm not famous on social media because I can speak about this because I don't make a single penny, not a single nothing on YouTube, right? I've got a very small channel in comparison to a lot of other channels. So, I'm not part of that category in any way, shape, or form. So people will hate on people who do that. Fact of the matter is, those people had the intelligence and the competency and consistency to use what they had. So I'll give you guys an example of what I'm talking about. Vicstar123, right? He's one of the members of the Sidemen. You guys know I'm a big fan of the Sidemen, and because I'm so impressed by their work ethic. These guys, Vicstar, for literally, I think it was 6 years in a row, would upload 3 videos every single day. And you know what's funny to me is I've done the upload a video every single day thing. I've only uploaded one every single day, so I know what it takes. And I don't edit my videos, but I edited a lot of them, I think. And what people who have, and I've met people who have helped to start YouTube channels or social media platforms, by the way, multiple of them. And it's funny because they're always so surprised by how much work goes into being able to record, upload, yada, yada, yada. They think it's just easy. They think it's just like posting a Snapchat story, and it's not, right? So when I hear that Vicstar123 has uploaded for 6 years consistently 3 times a day, the Sidemen, I think they only just fumbled this year for the first time, actually, which was very disappointing. But since 2018 until maybe like a month ago, every single Sunday, they never missed a Sidemen Sunday. They would have at least in like an hour long video of them doing whatever as a group, and they had a system. So they were competent and they were consistent. And the consistency was that even the time when they didn't upload, people were upset because they were like, we expected to see you. I was one of them. I was like, how have you guys not uploaded on a Sunday? So Sidemen Sunday is my favorite part of the week. And you guys haven't uploaded on Sunday. Like, what am I supposed to do at the end of my day now that I finished all my work? You know what I'm saying? The competency and the consistency is far more important than even the intelligence. And some people would say, oh, they're not intelligent. Okay, so just an idiot. So-and-so just an idiot. But baby, he's richer than you are. You're here saying that you're broke. You're worrying about the cost of eggs. You're worrying about the fact that you're trying to either steal your husband's money in the divorce, or you're the husband whose wife's trying to steal your money. And like, living in dysfunction. You're living in dysfunction. You're here wondering why your kid's not doing well in school when you don't even know what's going on in the school system. You're here stressed and worried and thinking, oh, they're just dumb idiots that got lucky because you think you're more intelligent. But guess what? They were competent and consistent. They uploaded their videos every week, every day, 3 days, three times a day. Vicstar did it for 6 years, right? 3 times a day, he's uploading a video on YouTube. And this is meanwhile him coming from a, Asian background, South Asian background. So he's got the pressure of like, he has to study in school and do well. And he did do well. And he's very intelligent. Also, it just so happens, maybe he was so intelligent enough that his intelligence transferred into competency and consistency. Because now, bro is definitely very well off, very rich. He's one of the richest of the Sidemen. You know what I mean? He's now DJing and doing all sorts. He's now moved into this house. He got married to the girl that he loves. He's living the life that he wants to live. And so the people who might be sitting there thinking that they're more intelligent didn't have the competency and consistency, because a lot of the intelligent people that I have worked with, whether it be people I've met in life or whether it be the students I've taught, whether it be adults or children, because I've taught people, obviously, all the kids I teach are younger than me, obviously, because I'm an adult. But I've taught adults as well. They're lacking. They have the ability. They lack the consistency. So when it comes down to doing an exam where they have to prove themselves for whatever reason, could be the job. And the jobs, a lot of the time, it's so interesting that I will be sometimes teaching adults who are applying for jobs far higher than like even my current job role, because at the moment, at the current stage I'm at right now, I'm only teaching people who are like, if it's adults who are aiming for a higher position than I'm doing, because obviously I'm just a teacher. But then they're being hired and scouted, in which I'm very happy for them, by the way. I'm okay with where I'm at. I don't love my job, to be honest, but that's not to do with the status of the job. It's just stressful. for many reasons. But yeah, they have the ability, but when it comes down to, and this is what I realized, that people struggle when it comes to like these subjects, especially maths and science, because they're deeply logical and deeply, you have to be a problem solver, and you have to be somebody who can, again, apply ability to use the skills and knowledge, right? So you can't just learn something that you can just regurgitate. You have to understand. So it's interesting for me to see how, when it comes down to it, a lot of people, the first time you explain something to them, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I'm sure it does. But can you reproduce that? Can you consistently do that? Do you have the knowledge, ability, or skill to do this thing successfully? So that's the competence element, right? That is where people are lacking. They don't have the consistency. They have the same thing, and it always bewilders me because I'm like, I've seen you do this thing like 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. I've seen you do this exact thing, but this time you did it wrong. And then it'll always be something small and stupid. And that's where I'm going to give you guys a little hints on how to be consistent and competent to finish off what I'm saying. To be consistent and competent, the first things first is, when you gain knowledge, make sure that you understand as opposed to remembering. Okay? A lot of people think that they're smart, and a lot of people do well in school because their memory can last a year or two. That's not understanding. By the time you get to university or your real job, you're going to be stuck because you're going to realize, why do I not know how to do anything? So focus less on remembering, more on understanding. If you don't understand, keep going and keep going. Because I always say this to my students. If you understand something, you never have to remember it because you understand. Like, nobody has to explain it again. Even if you haven't remembered anything in the lessons, if you understood and your brain is thinking logically and has that understanding, you will be able to reproduce those results regardless of anything. Whether I'm there, whether your other teachers are there, whether whatever, right? So focus on that first and foremost. Second of all, be competent. If you think you're good at something, right? If you think you're good at something, then you need to take extra breaths to make sure you've done it properly. A lot of these lessons I learned the hard way. I'll be so real. Like, whether it be in school or in work, where like I feel so capable, so whatever. Like, oh, I know how to do this, rush ahead and then make a bunch of mistakes, right? So I had to learn the art of, okay, and I never really realized it until recently that I have become that good at this, is instead now what I do is I take a long time to process information on purpose. And the reason why I do that, even though it might be frustrating to people initially, the results on the other end are way more beneficial because I haven't just jumped in head first and just tried everything and done everything without thinking. I've said to myself, you know what? Or even to them, can we just take a moment? Like, I'll get back to you within 24 hours about that. Take a think, look back through. Like, when you're doing your work, that's what I say to the kids. They'll be doing silly mistakes. And I'm like, most of the mistake, can I tell you guys this? I tell you this as a maths teacher, right? And I've been teaching math and science on and off since 2018. Can I tell you something? 9 times out of 10, the mistakes these kids make that are preventing them from getting the best grades are the basics. They did 2 times 3 wrong. They did 10 divided by 5 wrong. The actual concept, the intellectual concept that they have to address, which might be a high level of something that other people can't do, high level of chemistry, physics, biology, maths, whatever. That high level concept, they've understood and they get it. And they don't get the right answer because they make a stupid mistake on something like literally 2 times 3. And I did the same. I remember doing the same. I got to whatever level it was 16, 17. And I went to the best sixth form. The sixth form I went to had the highest grades in all of England. They had the Prime Minister come and cut the tape and everything. And for those who are not from the UK, A levels are like what you do 17 to 18. It's separate to what we do at secondary school. So I'm there. I'm doing chemistry, biology, maths, and further maths were the 4 subjects I picked. Right? I wish I'd done chemistry, biology. I wish I'd done chemistry, physics, maths, further maths. That's what I should have done. And then maybe drop further maths. But anyway, not important. So I've gone to do this, right? I'm in maths, and I'm obviously really good at maths naturally. I'm intelligent, whatever. But the thing is, in that exam that I had to do, because after 6 weeks we were into that exam, I had to do they did these exams to make sure you're still on the course, and if you don't get a certain grade, so we had to get at least 70 or 75% to assure that we could stay on the course. Now, hear this out, you guys. Out of what I think was like a 100-mark paper, I believe I got 15 marks wrong in total. No, sorry, not 15 marks wrong. 15 marks I counted that were wrong. I passed it anyway. That's what's crazy. So I'm saying, this is why I know this stuff from experience, because this stuff was so like, when it hit me, it just hit me in a way where I was like, this is crazy. So I got I don't know if it's that I got 15 marks below the full marks or I got 15 marks wrong. Either way, there's 15 marks that I got wrong. When I went back through, literally, one of the things I did wrong, it wasn't the method. It wasn't the other steps. It wasn't the understanding. It was that I did 2 times 3 and I wrote 5. Now, and this is what I tried to say to the students as well, why this is important when it comes to competency and consistency, is that in the moment, in a lesson as a teacher, of course, the mistakes are fine. Like, it happens. We're learning, we're progressing, and we're trying to find ways to do better. However, in a situation where you are a pilot, calculating the takeoff speed of the airplane, calculating, okay, both engines have gone out. We've lost our hydraulics. What footage, like how many feet can we fly in the air where the plane can still glide instead of just plummeting down? There's no room for this inconsistency. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no room for the inconsistency, because you have to know at this point. They have to get it right. They have to walk around the whole plane and double check that. This is why when people are like, oh, I don't know why people are fearing of flying. And I used to have a fear of flying. But I realized that, you know what? The pilots are far more competent than like people who drive cars, people who drive trains, people who drive buses, whatever. Right? They have to calculate all these things on the fly in the midst of the G-forces going off. You're just there screaming, crying, praying to the Lord to do something, asking for Jesus, right? And they're sitting there, the two of them in the cockpit, right? Calculating everything, going through the memory items, checking, what do we do? How do we make sure we can pull ourselves out of this? How do we make sure we don't stall the plane? Because the only thing I've seen that really affects a plane is if you stall a plane. If the plane starts stalling, you're done. Like, it's a bad day and it's hard to recover from stalling a plane. Basically, everything else, it seems like they can pull themselves out of, right? So they're thinking, how do we prevent stalling this plane? Because if this plane stalls right now, so I'm saying we can all just stall the car on the roundabout or stall whatever. And then, you might hear some people beeping their car, like whatever. And if you live in places we don't really need to use a clutch, maybe on automatic or whatever, can you stall an automatic? I've never driven an automatic car, so I couldn't tell you. But anyway, so stall the plane, whatever. That's the only time. So they're doing everything not to stall the plane. They're experiencing extreme G-forces, right? There's just the two of them. They're the only ones there. They're seeing the plane going down and they're feeling it going down. You guys are all screaming. Everybody's wondering what the hell was going on, right? They're under all this pressure and they have to still be consistent and competent. We're going to follow the memory items. We're going to do this. There are so many. You guys should see. My favorite channel is Mentor Pilot. Check him out. Petter, I believe his name is. Incredible man. Right? check out his videos because he does incredible videos. I've been watching him since long before he was into the million subscribers. When his channel was like quite small is when I started watching him. So it's been beautiful to see his journey, and his airplane videos and explanations are cinematic and educational. Incredible. I would literally get my children to watch his videos as part of my like homeschooling curriculum. Right? He explains exactly what it's like and what they have to do and how it is, and like all of this stuff. And I just think they're so competent and consistent. And it's like their intelligence doesn't matter, because if the plane crashed, right? And then, oh, but he had a PhD in such and such, and he was so knowledgeable about this, and he made 1,000 videos about this, that wouldn't matter. You know what matters? The fact that they have the intelligence and skills, and they're able to apply them, and they're able to apply them consistently. So most of the time there's issues with our planes we don't even know, because the pilots don't even have to tell us, because the pilots have already figured out a solution. They're like, oh, this and this is going wrong in the plane. Well, to be honest, we're an hour away. We can still make it with the amount of fuel. We've calculated with the amount of fuel we have left, with this and this that we have, we can still make it there. We'll service the plane when we arrive. We're not going to change our trajectory. Boom, bang, bizzle. And there you are, sitting in the back of the plane, drinking a Coca-Cola, right? Eating whatever you're eating, watching a Marvel movie, chilling, because that is what consistency and competency produces, as opposed to just intelligence. Some people, they're highly intelligent. Okay, you got all this information that you know, but your ability to apply it is where it's lacking. And they do have an ability to obviously acquire knowledge and skills, but it's the ability to use those knowledge and skills. That's the difference. With intelligence, you have the ability to acquire knowledge and skills, but with competency, you have the ability to have the necessary ability and knowledge or skill to do something successfully. So it's the difference between acquisition and action. Listen, I never want to be the kind of person, I don't know about the rest of you guys on the team, I never want to be that person that goes around and feels better about myself because I just know stuff that other people don't know. Like, oh, you didn't know about something. Idiot. No. If I'm going to be consistent and competent, if I'm going to be intelligent, I want to be consistent and competent. I want to be the kind of person that you trust me because you know that I'm going to be able to do something, but I'm going to be able to do it, and I'm going to do it successfully. That's the competence, and consistently. Because if the pilots weren't doing this, we'd be screwed. And a lot of people today, they get away with the fact that they're not at such a high level of risk. Right? So that's why people who work in other jobs, and a lot of jobs we all work in, right? Even me as a teacher, I don't have to be competent and consistent, because I can just blame the kids and everybody will agree anyway, because everybody else hates children today. Most people, in my personal opinion. If the kids are failing or the kids are struggling, no one's going to necessarily blame me. And guess who else no one's going to blame? The other adults in their life, their parents, their family, their communities, the other teachers in the school, whatever. So there's no one to pinpoint. And that's why I love pilots, because they're the one group of people that the two of them are the only ones who sit there and can say, we are the ones who have to be intelligent and competent and consistent every day of our lives. And when you listen to men or women, but particularly men, and I hate to be the one to say this, but I will just say I do trust male pilots more than I trust female pilots, because I just do think men work better under pressure situations, even though, and I say that because I'm a woman who works well in pressure situations, and I've never met a woman who works better under high pressure situations or unexpected situations than myself. And so therefore, but I met many men who do, if that makes sense. So, when you meet these guys, they're very calm, collected, intelligent, and competent and consistent. And they may not necessarily stick out. That's why I don't think pilots are given the credit that they should be given in society, because they're not out here. Their job isn't the type of job that they can be out here, and if they do the perfect flight, that's going to be big news, because it's almost expected, because that's how competent they are. Do you see what I'm saying? They're that competent and that good at what they do that our expectation is just that they all operate at like the highest level on a regular day-to-day basis. You hear of a car crash, a train this, or whatever else, not a big deal, unless it's like the Titanic. And mainly the reason with that was because everyone was like, "Well, even God can't what is it? What did they say? Even God can't sink." I was going to say ship, can't sink the Titanic. But why is it that we have that level of comfortability? Because they are not just intelligent, they are competent and consistent. And I realized that in life, like I have come to a place in my life recently where I've realized that, well, not even now, but I kind of realized in the last couple of years that I don't want my intelligence just to just be something where I can sit in a conversation and people think, oh my gosh, she's so smart. She's so intelligent. I want to be the kind of person as a winner that's like, I'm not just smart, I'm competent and I'm consistent. Like I'll finish with this story with you guys, because this is one of the stories that I'm so proud to mention about this. And even though I had nothing to do with it, right? So there's a girl on YouTube, and she's my favorite fitness influencer, right? My favorite fitness influencer by far. And her channel is called Nutty Foodie Fitness. She doesn't have like millions of subscribers. I think I don't know how many 100,000 she's at. And I know why she's not got more, because she's a woman with a great body that she pretty much has naturally, eats a lot of food. And that's offensive to a lot of women, because they're jealous that she can eat as much as she does and look as good as she does. I know the female community, whatever. I love her, and I've loved her for years, like long before everything I'm about to tell you guys now. I used to watch her channel back when she was still working her graphic design job. She didn't have the man she's with now. So like I've been long following her because I just like her. And I kind of love that she just happens to have these genes where she just eats a lot of food and she just still has like a 4-pack at the end of the day. I think it's just funny and it's great. And I'm just so happy for her, right? Anyway. And so her channel is called Nutty Foodie Fitness because she likes to eat a lot of peanut butter and whatever. And she does a lot of food. The fitness was lacking. Anyways, so like about 2 years ago, she decided she was going to do an Ironman, which I thought, you do the damn thing, girl. Like I'm so supportive of people. I'm not like going to second guess you. I'm going to be like, you do the damn thing. What do I need to do to help you? So anyways, she decided she's going to do an Ironman, which, so if you don't know what an Ironman is actually, let me just search here. I know it's a full Ironman. It's a full marathon because you do a swim, a run, and a cycle. So she did, I don't want to know the origin. I just want to know the amount of kilometers and whatnot. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so you got to do a full marathon. It's a triathlon. So yeah, I don't know why I didn't think to say triathlon. Okay, so you do a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and a 26.2 mile run, which is a 3.9 kilometer swim, 180.2 kilometer bike ride, and a 42.2 kilometer run, which is a full marathon. So that's what you do for an Ironman. It is insane. And she did one of those. And they have up to 17 hours to complete this. So she decided she was going to do that. And I was thinking, girl, anyways, she done the damn thing. Let me just fast forward. She done the damn thing. And I knew that she could, because she had that dedication, that competency, that consistency of, I'm going to keep training. Her training was hard. She was making videos crying about how hard it was and whatever, and going through the journey. And she was felt bad some of the time, which I never felt bad. I completely understood where she was coming from, because I've been in that place where like you're doing something and nobody really understands how hard it is that you're doing what you need to do. And then once you achieve it, people think it somehow just happened easily, but you actually worked so freaking hard. I think that's why I relate to her a lot, because she talked about that once or twice, where she was like, people just expect I'm going to do it, and they don't realize that it's actually hard for me to push myself to this degree, You know what I'm saying? And this is what I'm saying. Like, she went for it. She hadn't been training properly for a while. She hadn't been whatever. And she wasn't even a great swimmer or a great bike rider when she started. She could run quite a lot. And she happened to be bestie buddies with Lucy Davies, Lucy Davis, who's my second favorite female athlete, to be fair, female fitness influencer. And her boyfriend that she was with now happened to be an expert in bike riding, which I just thought, listen, the Lord will deliver when he needs to deliver when he needs to. But anyway, and so in the end, they helped her train up. She trained up herself. She showed up. She was working hard. And I, who watched her channel from before, knew that all her videos were just food videos. She wasn't working out. She didn't like going to the gym. She wasn't even good at PE at school. And then when she decided to do this, she booked herself in. She decided something she wanted to do, and she went for it. And she freaking smashed it. And after going to the first one, she made it at Worlds. She just competed at Worlds like last month or whatever. And I was just like, this is absolutely incredible. And it's just a lesson to everybody, I think, of consistency and competency over intelligence. She didn't necessarily have the intelligence to do it. Like she it just so happened that Lucy Davis, you know, used to swim for the UK, and her boyfriend has been bike riding for years and was like a proper expert with that. And that she had been kind of training and not training. But the point is that she was consistent and competent. She gained the knowledge, she applied it successfully, and she did it consistently, because it basically became like her whole life, and it kind of had to. And all of her content became about fitness, which was kind of funny, because I was like, girl, I remember you when you wouldn't even go to the gym, and your whole content was just about eating. But she took it seriously, and I think that's the lesson I'm trying to give to you guys. And she inspires me. She's one of the few people in the world I can say that truly inspires me, because it's not just about I'm trying to impress myself with people. I've come from the perfect viewpoint to impress people. It's I'm going to set myself a goal. I'm going to take what I can apply. I'm not just going to apply it so that I can feel better about myself and be knowledgeable, but I'm going to apply it successfully and consistently. And that's my message for you guys today, is that value competency and consistency above intelligence. We can all gain knowledge. Utilization of knowledge is what we call wisdom, right? Wisdom is greater than knowledge. And I've told you guys before, wisdom can buy you time. Because with the right amount of wisdom, you can do something 100 times quicker than somebody else can, just because you've gained that information. So I hope this video has been helpful, you guys. God bless you all. Because if life's a game, let's play to win. God loves you. I love you. I'll see you in my next one.